Hello, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Alexis. I am a disabled powerlifter from Pennsylvania and a Buffbunny Collection exclusive athlete. Today I will be reviewing the Essentials 2, which is the second installment in a collection series that Buffbunny Collection is now holding. So the Essentials collection and all of its series are going to be launched every like 6 to 8 weeks throughout the year, and Essentials from Buffbunny Collection are going to be essential pieces, fabrics, and colors that are the top selling and also the fan favorites. So it's really nice that the Buffbunny Collection team is listening to the customer feedback, seeing and analyzing their sales and customer satisfaction, and then they're taking that information and bringing back pieces that did well, and also appeasing the public with different fit updates based off of customer feedback. So I think that's really cool that this brand is doing that, and I'm for one very excited to see some of the most beautiful colors that are my favorites coming back in the Essentials 2 installment. I have been thinking that with so many essential drops, because they are reoccurring items that might just have a couple fit updates or sizing differences, or maybe stitch quality was improved, those kinds of things. I think it's important for me to save my time because I've already done so much extensive like inspection and review videos in the past. So how I'm going to structure the Essentials collection pieces is that I'm going to really go over the comparisons compared to the originals, show you the fit updates, and then just try them on and tell you all the details on the side, as well as just, hey, this is my sizing recommendation, this is what I rank it, just to save myself time, and also for y'all just to know the exact details you need to know for shopping on launch day. Thank y'all for all of your support. If you would like to continue to support me, please leave a like, share, or comment on this video. Head over to Instagram, follow me over there, and you can also use my athlete code Alexi, L-E-X-I, at checkout on any of your Buffbunny Collection purchases to save you 10% on any purchase, but that 10% also goes to me as commission, and I would greatly appreciate that. These review videos take a lot of work, and just kind of assessing all of the work that goes into my review videos. I know they're not the highest quality, I know they're not cinematically the nicest, and I do have faulty equipment and whatnot, but there's a lot of detail, a lot of time, a lot of notes that I take, and a lot of editing. If you think about it, I'm not just trying them on, telling you the sizing and whatever. I'm doing an inspection, I'm doing measurements, I'm doing comparisons, I'm doing the try on, and I'm telling you all these details. So technically I film 2 to 3 different types of reviews, and that's why it's all in one. So it's a lot of work, and I would greatly appreciate it if y'all could show me some support if you think that this review video was helpful. The Buffbunny Collection team has not yet received a few of the items, like the Elysium jacket and was it the Storm Collection long sleeve top? So athletes were not able to receive that in our PR packages. So all of the pieces that I'm presenting to you today are pieces that I have reviewed in the past. They just are coming out in the Essentials 2 installment, and they have a few fit updates or just might be coming back in different colors. And without further ado, let's get into it. First up, we have the Aurora tank, and the only fit updates that the PDF lists is that it's a little bit more form-fitting and the racer back are not as wide. So really quick, I'm going to go over a comparison since there are no other changes. You can refer back to the Unbreakable collection, which is the last time we saw the Aurora tank. So it's a little bit more open in the armpit or arm opening area, just a tiny bit longer. The one from the Unbreakable collection had more of a rounded bottom hemline, a silicone Buffbunny emblem, and the newer one has a reflective Buffbunny emblem. To me, the Perform fabric for these feel exactly the same. So just showing you the difference. Have the same amount of stretch and overall like brushed feeling, exactly the same weight. That the length and then just like the shape of it is definitely a little bit different. Straps a tiny bit wider. Both have a little bit of a shorter back. This one is a little bit more curved. It is going to be several inch difference in the width of the racer back. And for general measurements, the bottom width is coming in at about 16 inches. Side rise height about 8 inches, front rise height about 14 inches, of the strap width a little under 2 inches, racer back width a little under 5 inches, and total back rise height a little bit under 16 inches. Because I have reviewed the Aurora tank top before in the Unbreakable collection, I'm only going to go over the sizing really and then give you my overall score for the improved Aurora tank top feel and fit. I do like that the straps are just a tiny bit thinner, and then the racer back is also a little bit smaller. I still think that the arm opening and lat coverage is great. It's a basic tank top. It's not going to dig into your lats or make you feel uncomfortable. It is shorter and hits the smallest point of my waist, and I do have a longer torso. Waist length is going to be more hip length on the shorter girls. I do think that this is true to size, or you can size up if you don't want anything like as form-fitting and clingy. Ultimately, I'm going to have to rank the improved Aurora tank a solid 10 out of 10. I personally like the new improvements. I like how it fits ultimately. It's a really good base layer, and I would highly recommend to try it out. Buffbunny Collection doesn't do too many simple tank tops like this and racerback, so I highly suggest to snag it. Next up, we have the Halo long sleeve baby tee, and I did want to show y'all the proof that this is the baby tee version because it's a little longer compared to the original, and this is something that I noticed from the Summit collection. I don't know if that's like the industry standard allotment for variation, which is usually a ½ inch, but this is a size large, so is the original that we saw. I think Lift Like a Lady is the first time we saw. Well, this is where it's from, and they definitely look and fit different. And I definitely pointed that out in the Summit Collection review for the camo print one as well. But anyway, because this is returning just in a different color, I am going to go over the comparisons and anything that I noticed that's a little different. So right off the bat, if I line up, see that the newer one is well over an inch longer compared to the one from Lift Like a Lady. The one is just slightly rounded all throughout, whereas the one from Lift Like a Lady has rounded portion from that middle panel. A newer one does feel just a tiny bit more dense compared to the original, and I'm definitely here for that. I would love just a little bit thicker. The arm sleeves are the same width. Very center front rise is quite a bit longer in the front. For the back rise height, actually about the same. Princess contour lines on both of these appear to be the same. For general measurements, the bottom width is coming in about 14.5 inches. Side rise height is about 10 inches. Biggest part of the arm sleeve is coming in under 5 inches. Total front rise height under 17 inches. Total back rise height coming in about 19 inches. Because this is the exact same fit, feel, and measurements under my inspection from the Summit collection, I'm going to refer you to the Summit collection. There you can see more of the details up close for the Halo long sleeve baby tee. So ultimately, I do think that this is true to size, is form-fitting, a little bit more so compared to its original form. So true to size or size up if you don't want it to be as clingy. In the arms, I am feeling a little bit of tension, but that also could be because I haven't broken in this piece yet. Overall, I'm going to have to rank the long sleeve Halo BBT a 9.5 out of 10. I think the only thing I'm not in preference for is really just the fabric and consistency and / communication from the team. It's hard to know whether or not we are getting this version or that version, or the fabric feel is this way, or you know what I mean, if there's any updates to the fit, like that middle panel part not being as deep in its round shape as the original. But ultimately, I love the long sleeve Halo baby tees. I do like that the fabric is feeling just a little bit thicker, so highly recommend. Next up, we have the Essential short sleeve t-shirt. This is a newer style to Buffbunny Collection. It has the same cotton fabric composition and feel as the t-shirts that we've been seeing as of recent. And the only difference between this and other t-shirts is there is no graphic design. It is a minimalistic t-shirt, the dyed to match Buffbunny emblem. A great druze material in the neckline that allows you to stretch this out and put it on over your head without disturbing your makeup. Relaxed fit from the Grounds collection is the exact same collar design or taller collared neckline, and the jersey fabric had some stretch to it. Well, this is actually my favorite t-shirt from Buffbunny Collection, and the Strong AF collection t-shirt feels a little bit softer and thicker, maybe more brushed. Grounds collection one was taller. So for the Essentials t-shirt, that collar is going to be the same fit, design, and feel as what we saw from the Grounds collection. The bottom hemline for the Grounds collection is just a little bit longer in length compared to the Essentials. From Strong AF, that t-shirt feeling is softer and more brushed. From Grounds collection, that t-shirt was a lot more rough and not as brushed cotton feel. And then the Essentials tee definitely feels and weighs the same as the Strong AF collection t-shirt. The Grounds t-shirt is also a size 3XL. These both actually have the same front rise length. In the back, these actually are also the same length. But general measurements, the bottom opening is coming in about 20 8 inches. Side rise is coming in at about 19 inches. Front rise height, 28 inches. Collar is coming in about 20.5 inches. Arm opening coming in at about 11 inches. Total back rise height is coming in at about 30. If you all know me and you followed my reviews for a while, you know that I love a big oversized t-shirt long enough to cover my butt. I love the minimalistic embroidered because we don't see that from Buffbunny Collection, and especially in darker colors. Personally, I'm very excited for these. So I do think that these are running true to size. It feels like a 3XL based off of the types of shirts that I've gotten. I'm impressed with the quality and how soft the 100% cotton feel is, the neckline being great. So you can put this on over your head without disturbing your makeup. So 10 out of 10, I'm very happy with this. Highly recommend. The return of the Phantom waist jacket. We first saw this in the Vita collection. Absolutely love this jacket. I wear it a lot. And a few little updates. It has a more updated fit to be more flattering, and then it does have watch fence. It's made of Perform fabric, which has a nice 4-way stretch. This is feeling like a medium to high compression and support as it did in its original form. I wanted to show y'all the comparisons. You can refer to the Vita collection when I did a full detailed review for this, but for today I'm just going to show y'all kind of the differences in between these two in the designs. So from the Vita collection, that princess contouring goes all the way down. The newer one, the princess contour lines actually cut right at the smallest part of your waist or a little bit above it. I think that's going to give you a little bit of a fit and flare illusion. It's like a straight fit. The Vita collection one does flare out at the bottom. Both are almost exactly the same. This is actually an extra large and this is a size medium. So when I got this, I was intending to have it a lot more tighter fit because I knew it was Perform fabric, but there are different iterations of Perform fabric depending on the pieces. So Perform fabric was also in the Aurora tank, and it's also in the bend and snap dress, but in the Phantom waist jacket, I do believe that this Perform fabric version feels more like the bend and snap dress. Had very simple thumb loops in the sleeve, and on the newer version we not only have thumb loops, but we also have built-in watch vent. The Vita collection, on the sleeve, a separate sleeve that was sewn on, whereas the newer version, the stitch seam is a lot wider. That the extra large is just maybe ½ an inch bigger than the size medium in the sleeve, so it's just a little bit longer in length in the front. Side length is just a little bit longer on the Vita collection one. Again, it's a little hard to measure because this is more fit and flare, whereas this one is a little bit more straight. Comparing back rise heights, the Vita collection is still going to be longer in length as well. General measurements, the bottom width is coming in at 15 inches. The side rise height is coming in under 9 inches. Front rise height coming in under 10 inches. Total back rise height coming in about 17.5 inches. Total sleeve length from the shoulder coming in about 30 inches. Sleeve opening from the armpit is coming in about 6 inches. And big arm friendly. And I will have you reference that video for more details, but ultimately this is true to size. However, if you have larger arms like me and you don't want it to be as compressive, I would recommend sizing up for the Phantom waist jacket if you're in between sizes or you just want a little bit more room and comfortability, not as much compression. Overall, I'm going to have to rank the Phantom waist jacket a solid 10 out of 10. I actually really love it. I do appreciate that the lines for the contouring are a little bit different, and I don't notice them in front of me, that there's a little bit extra fabric in the armpit area. So I think the stitch quality, you know, moving it up here and not having just a separate sleeve is so much better. So I'm actually really happy with this. And real blue, hello, so beautiful. And adding those little watch vents is such a nice little detail. 10 out of 10, highly recommend the improved Phantom waist jacket. The Corset Bodysuit is made out of Perform fabric, so it's going to feel like the same fabric from the Phantom waist jacket, but it's going to be brushed differently than what the Aurora tank top feels like. So this is going to feel like what we see in the bend and snap dress as well, a very deep V waist kind of contouring, and that's because you have this doubly lined bonded, so glued together perform fabric in the center. It's not very stretchy. It adds a lot of compression and support to the mid area. That way it's like waist snatching. The underbust contouring is not an elastic band. It's simply these layers of fabric along with the layers of fabric for the bra shelf sewn together, so it's not too stretchy. It does lend a little bit of support to the bust area, so it is a like minimal to light compression and support. Built-in bra cups that you can remove from the inside slit here. Bra shelf separator, so that way the cup heads don't move around too much. Of course, straps are always very nicely done from Buffbunny Collection. This is the same strap quality you're going to see in the bend and snap dress, where it's encased or elastic flat wide band is inside of the perform fabric and invertedly sewn. A tonal or dyed to match metal hardware allows for you to adjust these straps. A silicone Buffbunny emblem. All of the stitch quality throughout this bodysuit, except for the very bottom cuffs, is going to be a delicate, like nicer, smaller stitch seam quality. Bottom of the pant legs, it's more of the legacy, kind of more robust stitch quality. What's cool about the corset portion is that it's faux boning, so it's not like the actual plastic pieces that are sewn individually, you know, in here. It's just the stitch seams of different parts of that performed fabric that's bonded sewn together, and it's constructed super well. In the back, it's sewn really nicely where it's nice and soft. It's not going to irritate you, but it also stretches as you put it on for that back opening with deep V glute contour and then simple stitch seam, more like the legacy legging for the glute rise. No elastic, very simple. There's actually a lot to unpack with the differences between its original form and the newer version. So right off the bat, the fabrics do feel different. The fabric compositions are different. So the newer version has elastane. The original has no additional elastane. Out of the package, it does feel softer, maybe like a little bit more brushed, but this one, I don't know how else to describe it. It feels like more cushiony and thicker compared to this one, which just seems a little bit thinner. However, they feel about the same weight. The original was just a little bit stretchy, whereas the newer one is not as much, but that's a little strange because it has elastic. But anyways, in the original, that back opening was so drastic, it ended up being like right above the butt crack. We ended up seeing an updated version a little bit after the One More collection last year, I believe. That is when this was reintroduced with a higher back rise, so a little bit less of an opening. Also, the opening is just slightly wider compared to what it was in its original form. So this is similar to its last form that we saw a little bit after One More collection when it was restocked, but obviously compared to the original, it is very drastically different. I ordered up to a size extra large, so both of these have the same doubly lined corset area in the midsection. The suit is made out of perform fabric, so it's going to feel like the same fabric from the Phantom waist jacket, but it's going to be brushed differently than what the Aurora tank top feels like. So this is going to feel like what we see in the bend and snap dress as well, but I do think that this perform fabric wash for the corset bodysuit feels just a little bit thicker and more dense compared to the perform fabric that you see for the bend and snap dress. I'm a fabric snob, sorry, I had to make sure I say that. But in comparing the middle of the bust rise height, these actually have the same bust rise height. Okay, and lining up the underbust contouring with that, the extra large is just a tiny bit, like less than half an inch higher in bra shelf coverage compared to the size medium. Lining up the crotch gussets, the size extra large is of course a little bit longer in length overall. From the crotch gusset to the bottom of the like waist contouring corset portion, they are going to be the same rise height. Again, this is a size extra large. The corset portion, the rise height of the corset is just a little bit longer compared to the original. I don't know if that's just because this is bigger size or because when it was updated a little bit after the One More collection, maybe this was increased in like rise height. And then the side rise height is going to be the same. The back rise height for both of these extra large and a size medium are the same. The back rise height until the opening is going to be different because this was updated a little bit after the One More collection. Strap lengths were like decreased. So if I match up that back band that goes straight across the back, this side of the original with the newer one, and it's really not that much bigger. So this is a size extra large, this is a size medium. Especially in the waist, you can see that it's really not that different, but is running just a tiny bit bigger. So right off the bat, I do think that it's gonna fit a little bit smaller compared to its original form. For general measurements, the middle of the waist, 13.5 inches. Biggest part of the hip area, over 16.5 inches. Front rise height from the crotch gusset just to the bottom of the deep V waistband, a little over 6 inches. About 9 3/4 inches. Middle of the bra shelf line, about 4 inches tall. Total front rise height, about 20 inches. Notch gusset to the deep V glute contour, about 6 inches. From that glute contour to the top of the back opening, 4.5 inches, about 10.5 inches. Right off the bat, I'm loving the longer length because on the original, I do remember taking photos and actually making my first nicer outfit transition video kind of reel in that first bodysuit. And I remember pulling it up quite a bit because I do have a longer torso, and where this underbust contouring is hitting on the original, it just kept sliding down. On the newer version, it's definitely fitting a lot better, and I'm not finding myself like pulling it up as often. I think the fabric feels a little bit more dense and maybe not as thin and stretchy as its original form, maybe because this is a darker color, but I'm 100% down for that. This is an extra large. The original that I just showed is a medium, and that still fit. The extra large is fitting almost exactly the same as the medium, so I think that you should size true to size or size up if you are in between for the newer version. The older version, I feel like you could have sized down because again, it's a medium and I'm a size large, and it actually still fit, which I was surprised. I have not worn it in a long time because I just thought, okay, it's a medium, it's not gonna fit me. So with the jump test, the bust has minimal to light coverage support and compression. I have a flatter like chest profile, so I don't have very large bust, but I do have a big upper body, like wide frame and broad shoulders. So for me, having that like lower neckline is great because it gives me the illusion of having a little bit more cleavage and a bust. But if you are a larger chested woman, I would not recommend this because it would be really low on you and it has very minimal support. The waist is snatching. That V waistband is very flattering. I think in the crotch area, it smooths out and actually looks pretty good on my lower tummy area as well. I do have pretty thick cellulite on this thigh, and the Perform fabric sits on top. So I think it is actually good in being cellulite concealing because it just sits and compresses on top of the skin. In the back, I love the higher rise. It is a little bit harder to get this on because that opening isn't as big and lower, right? So to get this on took a little bit of effort, but it was well worth it because I feel a lot more safe with a higher rise. The booty is looking pretty good. It's smoothing out my cellulite. It's not really giving any shape or support to my glutes, but it's a thinner fabric, so it just kind of situates itself and like looks pretty good as is. Perform fabric can snag. I've had that happen a little bit on the bend and snap dress. Do you think that you should stay true to size or size up if you're going to get this bodysuit? It fits and feels a little bit different compared to its original form. Overall, I'm going to have to rank the improved Corset Bodysuit a 9 out of 10. The only two things that I'm not in preference for is that because that back rise was increased, follow it along here. If I'm bending over or moving around a little bit, that is exactly where this is going to bunch up. This is nice and compressive in the center, but it doesn't really stretch with you as you move. So if I'm bending over, that bunching is also at the smallest part of my waist, but I think it's inflicted because where a lot of the tension is coming from in the back. That, I don't really know how you would change that, but I'm just noticing if I'm not standing perfectly straight, I'm definitely getting that. And then the other thing I'm not really for is the fabric and consistency. So it's hard when the fabric changes and it feels different. It does fit more snug, true to size, potentially size up. So overall, I'm really happy with the updates. I'm definitely going to be wearing this and rocking this with the phantom waist jacket. And really quick, I do want to show y'all that the Perform fabric in baked blue for the bodysuit and the phantom waist jacket is just a tad off. That's because the Perform fabric feels a little bit different from the jacket compared to the bodysuit. Also, this is Frio, this is Halo fabric. So all three fabrics are just a tiny shade off. It's hard to see in the studio lighting, but I had to point that out. Yeah, I feel really good in this. I highly recommend to try it out.
Bags to have interfacing, so they're actually a lot more sturdy now. For a little while, I don't know what happened with communication, but the bags started becoming a little bit more lightweight, less sturdy. Still great bags. These ones a hell of a lot better. You guys are going to be able to feel the difference, see the difference in the sturdiness, your better quality, and we made it to where you can actually clip this out of the way. So if you don't carry food with you all the time, you can actually snap this out of the way. Obviously it's compressible, but if y'all haven't seen these bags before, stepping on it. It's a collapsible cooler. You can also put your medication in here if you have medication that has to stay cold. Cold teething toys for the baby food, all the things. This is a best-selling bag for us, and I'm just so happy with the improvements that we've made to it.
And lastly, I actually have the Colorado Fleece bodysuit from the Summit collection. I did have the regular length. The team did not state in their PDF whether or not the longer length version was going to have a longer torso length or just a longer inseam length. So when I was watching the behind the designs, that's when I discovered that in fact the torso length is increased for the longer length. So I actually am really happy with the longer length. Again, I have a longer torso. I do want to go over the comparison really quick and try it on and show y'all the huge difference that torso length adds. So if I line up the crotch gusset of the long version versus the regular version, going all the way to the top, these are both a size large. The longer version is about 1.25 inches longer compared to the regular version, large. Added length in the torso makes a huge difference. So you can just see at the neckline, it's not being pulled down nearly as much as the regular length one. I just wish that the Buffbunny Collection team would actually list that torso length increase for the long version in the PDF, because I would have gotten it if I would have known that. Anyways, it fits so much better in the crotch area. And I forgot to mention in the comparisons that the glute rise is also about 1 inch longer in rise height, which allows the glute contouring lines to hit right where they should on me. So just further proves that yes, I have a longer torso. This fits a hell of a lot better compared to the regular length one. So my new scoring is going to be here, and I just felt like this deserved a moment because longer tall length works so much better for me. And the pant length or the pant leg length is still full length on me. There's not a whole bunch of extra length. And because the Colorado fleece fabric does fit more compressive, I do think that the longer version is not only great for taller girls or longer torso girls, but also women who have larger busts, because this doesn't have a whole lot of give in the chest area because that mesh paneling goes throughout the chest as well. So if you have a larger bust, you could compensate the fabric that's needed to cover your bust this way with the longer version, in my opinion. So I figured that this deserved a spot somewhere for y'all to see. If you made it to the end, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate all of y'all's support. If you could please leave me a like, comment, or share on this video, and or use my athlete code LEXI, L-E-X-I, at checkout on any of your Buffbunny Collection purchases, I would greatly appreciate it. That not only saves you 10%, but it also earns me 10% commission on sales, so I appreciate it. My favorite item or items that are launching in this second installment of the Essentials collection would have to be the Phantom waist jacket in the Rio Blue. I absolutely love it with having those locking zippers. You can really adjust and move this around without having it be like busting open. The color Rio Blue is just perfection. Nancy's Journey collection. That was the first collection that got me into Buffbunny Collection because it was amazing seeing someone highlighted and being celebrated and the brand being so inclusive. Not many activewear brands do that, so I think that just speaks to me. My second favorite item from the Essentials drop is quite honestly the basic t-shirts, because we don't see that from Buffbunny Collection. It's nice to have some more subtleties. My third favorite, if you don't want to count the t-shirts, is going to be the Corset Bodysuit, because I think the improvements are great. The fabric feels a little bit more dense and I love that, but I think I'm going to try to exchange for a size large and kind of compare what that feels like. I sincerely want to thank y'all again so much for being a part of this amazing Buffbunny Collection community, and just thank you for being here. I will see y'all next time.